President Lee Myung-bak has urged firms to aggressively increase investment and employment. Korea and the U.S. have begun talks on dividing the defense costs of stationing U.S. forces in Korea. A garden will hang over Gyeongbu Expressway and offer a relaxing place for the public. Hello and welcome to KBS World News Today. It's Friday, the 29th of August. Around 2,000 companies able to support themselves will be excluded from the list of small and mid-sized firms. President Lee Myung-bak has also urged firms to aggressively increase investment and employment.
The list of small and mid-sized companies will be reduced to avoid giving support to medium enterprises doing well on their own. The Small and Medium Business Administration has reported this measure to the Presidential Council for National Competitiveness. About 2,000 smaller companies with at least 1,000 employees each and assets of $462 million or more will be removed from the list. The money saved from the omission will go to support startups and smaller high-tech companies. President Lee has stressed the importance of customized support for each company. He's also urged more corporate investment and employment, citing insufficient investment over the past year. The president has asked corporations to invest over the next 1 or 2 years instead of waiting for deregulation.
미래가 밝으면은 저는 기업들이 특히 대기업들이 좀 공격적 경영을 하면 좋겠다 하는 그런 생각을 하고.
He's also urged conglomerates to purchase mass produce before the upcoming Chuseok holidays to boost domestic demand. On labor relations, Lee says friction between management and labor is hindering foreign investment. He says laws and principles will be strictly applied on such matters. The president has urged business to cooperate, hinting at strong policies for strengthening national competitiveness.
The so-called educational policy of the 3 no's will stay in effect until next year's college entrance exams. But the Korean Board for College Education has stirred up the controversy by hinting at a policy revision in 2011.
The educational policy of the 3 no's bans universities from using their own admission exams, accepting donations for admissions, or rating high schools. Several universities are demanding that the policy be abolished. Their demands have spurred controversy every time. The Korean Council of University Education is in charge of college admission policy this year. The council will keep the 3 no's policy until next year.
충분한 사전 예고 없이 폐지할 경우에 고등학교 교육 현장의 혼란과 사교육비 증가 등의 부작용을 초래할 수 있기 때문에.
But the council says it's considering abolishing the policy and has a task force to implement this in 2011.
산벌적 재획 폐지에 대해서 국민 정서라는 부분은 생각 안 할 수가 없으니까 그 부분을 염두에 둔 것 같고 앞으로 산벌 정책이 폐지될 수 있는 여지는 만들어 놓은 것이 아닌가.
The College Education Board set up the College Ethics Committee to crack down on schools violating college admission rules. But it's unclear if the committee can effectively supervise colleges. 14 of its 15 members are university presidents who belong to the board. The 2010 college entrance test is slated for November next year. The policy of first semester early admissions will be abolished. The new rules will take effect in November before high school students begin their final academic year.
Korea and the U.S. have begun talks on dividing the defense costs of stationing U.S. forces in Korea. Seoul and Washington will probably have a difficult time coming to an agreement.
Bilateral defense talks with the United States are discussing how much Korea should pay for stationing U.S. troops here. Seoul this year is paying about $684 million. This accounts for 42% of expenses spent by the U.S. Army stationed here. Washington wants the share raised to 50%. This would raise Seoul's share to more than $784 million, up 14.5% in amount. Korea is offering to raise its share to 44 or 45%.
우리의 부담 능력에 적절하고 합리적인 방식의 분담이 이루어지도록 노력할 예정입니다.
On facility costs, Washington is requesting payment by cash, while Seoul prefers to pay in kind. The two sides also differ on how to spend $738 million the U.S. Army in Korea has saved up. Washington says the money comes from savings on repair costs and wants to use it to build its Pyeongtaek base. Seoul says the money was originally intended to strengthen the overall capacity of the two militaries and is urging transparent spending. U.S. Ambassador to Korea Alexander Vershbow also says talks on defense costs should come once every several years instead of every year.
Domestic home appliances have overcome the global slump thanks to innovative technologies. The sector's success stems from unique products and marketing strategy.
Samsung Electronics have developed the world's first bubble washing machine. The product features a bubble engine that produces large soap bubbles and cuts washing time in half. The company has also released new kimchi refrigerators with increased volume and separate cooling functions in each section by adopting vacuum insulators. Sales of Samsung's home appliances have grown more than 20% a year since 2006. This is thanks to IT technology.
친환경 고효율 그리고 웰빙 쪽에 핵심 역량을 더욱더 차별화해서 글로벌 시장을 공략해 나가겠습니다.
The global market for home appliances is in a slump, but domestic manufacturers are doing well thanks to product differentiation and aggressive marketing. LG Electronics has invested 5% of the annual sales in research and development, despite the soaring prices of the raw materials. As a result, LG ranks third in the world in home appliance exports after Whirlpool and Electrolux. Chinese rivals are catching up fast with the Korean companies. To stay ahead of the competition, Korean companies should produce more technology-intensive products like built-in kitchens and system air conditioners.
The townhouse is growing popular in newly developed cities and changing home patterns in Korea. A quiet suburban life and access to urban facilities are attracting many prospective home buyers.
Houses have been built near mountains and large apartment complexes in a newly developed city. These townhouses look like homes usually seen in suburban areas. Some 200 townhouses have been sold in this area. A big selling point is location in a newly developed city with easy access to facilities like schools and large discount stores. The townhouses are accordingly growing popular with home buyers.
아파트에서 그 꽉 막힌 데서 이제 살았던 거하고는 아주 틀리게 어렸을 때 어떤 그런 공간이 진짜 집 같은 공간이 들어서 너무 마음에 들어요.
Townhouses are not subject to ceilings on sale prices or loan restrictions. Even large construction firms are eyeing the townhouse market. Around 1,000 townhouses have been sold this year, up from just 200 in 2006. Townhouse builders are setting aside luxurious designs to provide simpler and more affordable units.
중산층, 실수요자층을 대상으로 규모도 3분의 2로 줄이고 분양 가격도 10억 원 전후의 상품을 내놓아서 소비자들의 반응이 굉장히 좋아지고 있습니다.
Experts say townhouses are mainly for living instead of investment, since a townhouse does not appreciate as much as an apartment.
The nation's first hanging garden will be built soon. The garden will hang over Gyeongbu Expressway and offer a relaxing place for the public.
Some 200,000 cars pass the entrance of the Gyeongbu Expressway daily. Residents of nearby areas say they suffer from noise and dust.
아이들 잠을 제대로 못 자. 어른도 신경이 예민해가지고 잠을 좀 푹 자야 그 이튿날 일하기가 부드러울 텐데.
4 years from now, the place will have a public park. The garden will be built on a concrete foundation hanging above the highway. It will be the nation's first Midair garden. The garden will be built on a 440-meter section between Banpo and Seocho intersections in Seoul.
소음이라든지 또 대기질 이런 것을 대폭적으로 개선시킬 수 있다. 또 단절된 것을 연결시킴으로써 어떤 생활 문화권을 연결시킬 수 있다.
The garden will feature exercise equipment and a rest area as well as a fountain and water park. The private sector will invest $165 million in the garden's construction. The Seocho district denies the project will cause traffic gridlock, but such a fear is rising because the area is notorious for heavy traffic.
거기를 가게 되면 공기 문제 때문에 창문을 다 닫고 다니면서 매연 문제가 더 심각해질 것 같습니다.
It's also unclear how investors will recoup their investment from the project.
The temperature gap between day and night is growing bigger. Korean scientists have developed a material that stores leftover heat for use in colder weather. This way we can save 15% of heating costs.
Heating systems in apartment or large buildings are only effective when turned on. They cannot store heat like the traditional indoor system or floor heating. The Korea Institute of Energy Research has developed a method to have building material store heat. Minute particles of paraffin substance are capsulated and mixed into construction materials like plasterboard. When a room is heated to a certain temperature, the particles store the extra heat and discharges it when the room temperature drops.
실내 기온이 상승하게 되면 저희가 개발한 추결 건자재에 포함되어 있는 추결 물질이 고체에서 액체 상태로 되면서 열을 흡수하게 되고요. 반대로 실내 기온이 내려가게 되면 추결제가 액체에서 고체 상태로 되면서 열을 방출하게 됩니다.
Since the particles are very small, a material strength or fire resistance stays the same even when the particles turn to liquid. Tests on a house showed that the material required 15% less heating costs than ordinary building materials to maintain a certain room temperature. The new material is also price competitive, costing 25% less than imports. The new research team says the technology can be applied to textiles and car interiors.
Imagine ballet without the costumes and toe shoes. These are traits shown by the Boston Ballet, known for its unconventional performances. The company is in Korea for the first time.
The dancers wear gym suits and sneakers. They dance in big movements to upbeat music as if jogging or doing yoga. The dancers are without their traditional ballet costumes and toe shoes, but perform passionately and explosively. The music specifically composed for this piece accelerates in speed and rhythm. There is no orchestra or fancy stage set. On stage, it's just a piano, dancer, and their shadows. Dancers roll and push, nothing like traditional ballet, but their unfamiliar movements leave an indelible impression.
The audience get to make the story. It's an emotional story. It's a story of the big things, but every individual can make the story themselves, because the music and the movement.
Their ballet is not about nice and pretty. The Boston Ballet is in Korea for the first time to showcase its trademark unconventional dynamism. The ballet company is showing another side of the beauty and depth of modern ballet.
These days, small and unique coffee shops are getting popular among neighbor streets. As they are easy to access and offer various drinks at low prices, they are growing more and more popular among neighborhood residents. Let's get a closer look. This small neighborhood coffee shop is not easy to find for strangers. The store's small sign merely has a cup of coffee painted on it. But the shop is more popular than large coffee chain stores. Since it's located in the neighborhood, its regular customers are mainly neighborhood residents and their kids.
애기 유모차 끌고 와서 간단하게 마시고 저 혼자 책 읽다가 그냥 가고 이럴 때도.
The neighborhood coffee shops sometimes become libraries for the neighborhood children to do their homework and study. The shop offers a large variety of beverages, but you won't be able to find the prices anywhere on the menu.
아니 다 2,000원이거든요. 이게 다 유명해서 다 알려져서 다들 2,000원인 줄 알고 와요. 저렴하면서 맛있어요.
The whole family can have an enjoyable tea time after dinner for just about $10. This is an organic coffee shop run by 3 coffee specialists. Customers have 11 different kinds of coffee beans to choose from that are ground and dripped in the spot. What is attractive about this coffee shop is that you can even order your own customized coffee.
11가지 콩들의 각각의 맛의 특징이 있어요. 그 콩들을 조금 이해하신 분들이 조금 더 한 단계 더 이제 자기만의 커피를 만들어 보고 싶다라는 욕심에 그것을 저희가 충족시켜주는 방법이고요. 잔으로 한번 마셔보고 그 커피가 나와 맞아떨어지면은 커피 콩을 그런 식으로 비율에 맞춰서 사가셔서 항상 집에서 그 커피를 드시는 거죠.
This coffee shop is also hidden deep in the neighborhood, but it has become famous enough to have people take long-distance trips for a sip of good coffee. A minibus is parked inside. It is the kitchen for preparing coffee, tea, and simple snacks. Hammocks and stoves are placed here and there to give a camping-out atmosphere. The shop also has simple, pretty items and various books and toys on display for customers to look at or buy. Camping out isn't fun without music. A concert is held on the camping car trunk. As many artists reside in the neighborhood, such concerts are held frequently by customers. Just in case you might be wondering, this is an instrument played in Argentina and for tangos called the bandoneon. How about having some fun and a nice cup of afternoon tea at one of these neighborhood coffee shops? Here are today's economic indicators and the weather. That's it for this edition of KBS World News Today. Have a nice weekend and thank you for watching.